Welcome to the Brew podcast. Every other Sunday, we'll release an episode of the podcast featuring an interview with a business owner in the food industry, from restaurants to breweries to bakeries, and everything in between. We ask them about their journey and the process of becoming a successful business owner in hopes of helping others to do the same. I'm Mike Curtin, and the podcast starts now. Welcome to the Brew podcast. My name is Michael Curtin, and if you haven't subscribed yet, please do so you never miss another episode of the podcast. Thank you for joining us for the second episode of Brew. Today I'm going to be sitting down with Kyle Hurst from Big Alice Brewing in Long Island City, Queens. As with the last episode and many more to come, I sit down with the owner I'm interviewing in the place of their business. So unfortunately, there's almost always going to be some background noise, which I'm always going to try and edit to the best of my ability. So here's the interview with Kyle Hurst at Big Alice. I hope you enjoy it. Hey guys, welcome to Brew. My name is Mike Curtin. We're here with Kyle Hurst at Big Alice Brewing in Long Island City. Kyle, thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
Cheers.
Cheers.
So can you just tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into the business?
So I started as a home brewer before it was cool.
Right.
That's how I like to present it. Probably the late 90s I started home brewing in Wisconsin, around 98 or so I guess. My oldest son was about 2. My first homebrew kit was a Father's Day present from my wife.
Nice.
So I moved to New York about 2008, started homebrewing with buddies here, and about 3 years later we got the wise idea to open this place. And fast forward, and here we are today.
Nice. How old were you when you started the business, when you jumped into it?
So we formed the company in 2011, so I guess that would make me 37, let's say.
37, okay.
Give or take. We didn't open our doors until 2013, so it took about a year and a half from the day we decided, or when we filed the corporate paperwork to form the company, until we actually opened and began production. But that was September of 2011. We got our license December of the following year. January of 13, we started brewing.
Right. Okay. What exactly sparked your interest in wanting to become an owner?
So,
I know there's a love of brewing.
Yeah, every home brewer dreams of opening a brewery one day,
right?
And certainly that was I don't. It's not why I did this. It was kind of a funny story in that I was brewing with another home brewer, and he and I were brewing once a month together. He lived in Brooklyn. I was living up here in Poughkeepsie, and one weekend a month, he'd ride home from work with me on a Friday night. We'd brew all weekend. He'd ride back to work. We worked together on Monday morning. It was actually his idea that he said, they just changed the laws. We were making 5-gallon batches. He said, I found the system. We can make 10-gallon batches.
Right.
We'll still keep 5 for ourselves. We can sell the other 5 and have everybody else pay for our hobby. And so that was.
That sounds like a bad idea.
And that's actually how we started. So we started on a Sabco system, brewing 10 to 12-gallon batches, put them all in large format bottles, and we pre-sold them 6 months at a time.
Nice. How'd you go about selling? You sold them to different.
It was all direct to retail at that point. So the first round was mostly friends and family.
Right.
People looking to support us as we got started. But we were selling 2 bottles a month for 6 months for $200. So in essence, we were selling you a case of beer for $200. That you're going to give us the money today, and you weren't going to get those last 2 bottles until 6 months from now. So the first time around, everybody's great, happy to write us a check and support us. But second time, we did it every 6 months. We would renew, and some of those friends and family got replaced with people who had kind of heard about us, and then eventually we ended up with after our third round, so a year and a half in, we ended up with a pretty lengthy waiting list, and that's when we just made the decision that we would get bigger and make the leap to full-time brewing. To that point, we were still brewing once a month like we had in the past. We were just doing it here instead of my garage.
Nice. Your friends and family obviously supported you big time. How did you go about finding capital to start everything?
Well, one of the nice things about starting at a 10-gallon, or 12, they're half barrels, so full capacity is 15 and a half. But the brew house we bought was $6,500. The fermenters were a few $100s each. Nothing like what you pay for the equipment that we have now. But three of us put in $10,000 each. We figure we'll give this a shake. If it doesn't work out, we got a pretty cool used car in our homebrew system that we would just take home. And we didn't take on any debt when we started. And then because we were pre-selling all of our ingredients, everything we needed to produce the beer, we had funded through pre-sales of our beer. So it was a modest investment to get us started.
When you started, did you have any doubts that it might not work out, or it was kind of
sure.
I feel like this is going to take off because everybody's kind of supporting us? Or
well, we didn't have the intention to become we're still one of the smaller breweries in the city, but we have a second location now in Brooklyn where we're doing barrel aging over there, and kind of all of the growth we've had since then, I certainly didn't foresee. Originally, the plan was to keep my day job and brew once a month, which is what I'd been doing for a year and a half or a couple of years at that point anyway.
Living the dream.
So it was an easy step, and the support of the public and our fans drinking our beer made that decision easy.
Right. What was one of the hardest things you had to overcome when starting? What did you think?
There's fear of unknown. It's just because your friends tell you make good beer doesn't mean you make good beer.
Right.
Your friends aren't going to be completely honest with you. Some will.
Right.
And those are the kind of friends you need when you're going down this path. But
of course.
I think just kind of fears of quality issue, or it's you're sharing your hard work with the public, and the public can be brutal. So there was a lot of fear around just people accepting, enjoying what I enjoy doing.
Right.
There's a vulnerability there.
So what's something you never thought you had to deal with in the industry?
There's lots of stuff. So
Love to hear it.
So I no longer do the brewing here. We one of the guys who started out actually as a volunteer back when we were doing the one weekend a month. There's a bunch of home brewers who come in and hang out with us. We weren't paying ourselves. We weren't paying them. Just a bunch of like-minded people kind of hanging out and having a good time. But he kind of stuck with us through and through, and he ended up being our first full-time employee, and he's now our head brewer. So to answer the question though, now that he's brewing, I'm finding out all of the things I wasn't doing when I was brewing. That's on the business side of owning a brewery. There's lots of legal and requirements both at the state level, the federal level.
Right.
Taxes. So, you're taxing all the beer you make. You're also taxing all the beer you sell. There's certain paperwork you need from wholesale, retail vendors, and there's a lot more of that side of it. So being a home brewer and making beer and selling beer is one thing, but the business of beer, I'm learning every day is a far greater task.
Needless to say, laws come into it a lot more than you thought it would.
For sure.
Yeah.
And New York State has been great. It's probably one of the most liberal states,
right.
and brewery-friendly states. So that's great, but there's still a lot to it.
Right. Was there a defining moment for you that made you realize this is going to work?
I don't know if there's any one moment. I think when others recognize, when other people in the profession recognize your work, I think, and that's always rewarding. So we've been fortunate enough within the New York State competition to win medals.
Right.
Each of the three. It started 3 years ago. We've medaled every year. So that's kind of reassuring.
Yeah, it's a little uplifting.
Yeah, we're making a lot of beer. We're doing a lot of different stuff, and it's easy to make a lot of different beer, but it's not easy to make it well. So we try to focus, on agricultural, focused beers and ingredients and sourcing things locally. which doing that is a challenge on its own. But then to do it well, we've spent a lot of time on quality, and we've won a few medals. So it's that's kind of like, all right, we're doing okay. It's
Right.
going to be all right.
So it's saying quality over quantity is always the best route to go, I feel, to keep your customers happy.
Yeah.
Was there a mistake, a big mistake rather, that you made that maybe you can look back on now and say, you know what, I know never to do that again?
There's
I'm sure there's some, but
there's a book out there that a lot of home brewers and professional brewers have read or read called How to Brew.
Right.
We've often joked around here that we're going to make the counterpoint to that book of how not to brew.
Gotcha.
Filled with stories of stupid shit we've actually done here. And sometimes you do it out of necessity because you either don't have the right tools or you're in a bind and you got to find a way to just plow ahead and keep going. But so I think those are the kind of production mistakes. But I think in terms of the business, if that's what you're asking, it's I would always like to give the advice to people if they're going to do this themselves to start bigger. But that doesn't apply to everybody. Like even with that knowledge now, if I were to go back, I don't think we could do it because we didn't have any industry knowledge. I knew how to make beer, but I didn't like I said, understand the business side of things.
Right.
But certainly doing 10-gallon batches wasn't profitable. We were covering our expenses, but we weren't.
Right.
There was no payroll at that point, so it was easier then. But we have about 16 employees now, so you do need a certain production capacity in order to cover expenses. So until you hit a certain size, you can't do that way.
What are your strategies for marketing? For just getting your name out there?
With beer specifically, a lot of it is done through social media.
Right.
We have somebody on staff who that's their only job.
Right.
That we pay to handle social media for us. It creates a consistent, message, brand, kind of imagery, all of that. But then a lot of it is the general public does a lot of that for us. So if you have a strong social media presence, others can take that and then share it. And sometimes we take what they've done and we share it because there's really smart people out there with they're really kind of an artistic eye for things. And so that's how we do that. We do some paid advertising, but we don't have a budget for that, so we really pick our spots where we do that kind of thing.
How do you deal with the people who are just nuisances? The ones that'll go on Yelp and bad reviews, and do you respond back? Do you?
It's. I tend not to respond. You're only adding fuel to the fire. If for some reason, somebody feels like they were wronged in some way, we'll definitely respond to that. But typically, what I'll do is if there's somebody like really kind of throwing some shades and some, vitriol on there, usually I'll look to see what else. Like I'll check other things they've reviewed or rated.
Right.
And if they're just doing that across the board,
then they're just a miserable human being.
Don't waste your time with that. Yeah, but certainly if there's somebody who's their opinion or their experience, not to be dismissive of everybody who has a bad experience, but we'll sometimes validate that before starting down that path because you don't want to get in a piss and match online. There's no way you win that.
Of course not. So I've noticed that there's almost like a brotherhood with brewing. Like everybody seems to know each other.
Absolutely.
Like the restaurant industry. But is there a way to stay like a step ahead of other breweries?
So within New York City specifically, we have our own guild. So there's a National Brewers Association, there's a State Brewers Association, and then New York City has its own Brewers Guild. And we meet once a month, kind of discuss, challenges and really how to promote beer in New York City. I wish it was more about promoting our own brands in New York City, but we try to keep it at a craft beer level. So it's helpful to kind of have those minds come together where you have other people, who may have experienced a challenge you're dealing with, and you can kind of, and people are really open and helpful with each other. So it's been great for that. But at the end of the day, we are competitors, in terms of getting ahead of them. It's everybody. We're making similar products, but we all have our own model, and and our own idea of what the future is going to look like for our business, and we all go at that our own way, and and we all hope that our way is the best way.
Of course.
Yeah, it's the one thing I don't think anybody engages in is disparaging anybody else. Yeah, so it's always kind of pro beer, pro New York City, and then pro yourself. There's not a lot of negative campaigning. We won't speak for them any brewery here. I don't allow our staff to do that because if a customer comes in complaining about some other brewery, we'll let them have their say, but we're not going to engage in promoting that because it's just there's again nothing to benefit from that. And like I said, we all know each other. And I don't think there's anybody making bad beer that I know. So again, you may have had a bad experience, and if I hear about it, I'll let them know. Hey, somebody was in, had this experience, so it may be too late to direct to that person specifically, or at least they're aware of what's happening, maybe in their tap room that they may not otherwise be aware of.
It doesn't really sound like there's much competition. It's more like hey, listen, I'm going to help you out here. Help me out when you can. It's all like
So we've. Like I said, we self-funded when we started. We have gone to the bank now for 2 different loans.
Okay.
And one of the things you have to explain is kind of your marketplace and competition. And I've always explained it as we're in competition with these other breweries, not against them.
Right.
But there's a lot of data that the National Brewers Association puts together for us that kind of supports the growth of craft beer in general and how we're not cannibalizing each other. We're actually stealing from wine and from big beer, and even though people are buying less beer, they're buying more from breweries like this.
Right. So you have your grain, hops, bottles, everything. You have your distributors set up. Is there always a look to find a cheaper or better distributor, or is it when the time comes? If you're not happy with somebody that you're dealing with, and you look for it.
So if by distributor, I don't know if you mean like a wholesaler that we would sell like a bottle shop or a bar.
Well,
we self-distribute.
Where you get your grain and your hops.
So we're a farm brewery. So a percentage of all of our beers are made with, or a percentage of every beer we make are made from ingredients grown in New York State. So we have a number of farmers we work with directly. From the day we opened, we've kind of tried to order from, especially when we were first starting out, from all of the different farmers and maltsters, and just kind of experience what everybody's doing, kind of what their ingredients taste like in our beer, and so we've landed on a couple different suppliers that we deal with, and we've forged some really great relationships with them. But yeah, I mean, you're always kind of looking, and it's not necessarily you look to get a different company to work with. When you work with the same people, like you can give them candid feedback. Hey, I'm getting this, off flavor, or this isn't as efficient as it was in the past. Have you changed something?
Right.
Or can you change this to maybe make something more specific for us? And it's kind of been great to, like, we pay more to brew, with ingredients on a local level, but it's such a better experience and a better way to operate than just calling somebody in the Midwest or whatever and being like, hey, we need a pallet of pale malt.
Yeah.
And they just put an order and they put it on a truck. We'll call the the maltster who knows the farmer. In some cases, they're the same people, and that's kind of a really cool way to run a business.
Yeah, absolutely. When you became an owner, did you think about the stress that was going to come with the fact that you'd be people's livelihoods? Or, I mean, is it stressful now knowing that?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Knowing that at any given moment, somebody's decisions could be like, listen, we can't use you anymore. I mean, it's nice to have a nice staff and whatnot, but
We've been pretty fortunate in that we haven't had a lot of turnover.
Okay.
We've had a couple people leave on their own. We've had a couple people we've had to let go, and that's probably been the most difficult thing. I hope I never get comfortable with that,
Right?
Because it's heartbreaking, and it's a company this size. It's cliche to say that they're family, but they are. We all know each other. We know each other's families.
Work with each other every day.
We see, and we do things together outside of the brewery as well. So
it's the same thing.
That's
Same
really
thing
hard.
like FD&1. You're working with these guys every single day.
I'm sure it's even more so for you guys.
Right.
We're making beer. Like you guys are, in much more intense situations.
Right. It is. But when guys get promoted, you're happy for them. And obviously, on the other hand, if you have to fire somebody, you're not feeling too good for that person.
Sure. Yeah. No. That's for sure. And as we've grown and as we continue to grow, we're looking to find ways to create more value around employment here, and we don't currently offer like health insurance. We're hoping to do that in the next few months, and so we're working towards those kinds of things for our employees as well.
Good luck with that.
Thank you.
And I know we go from stressful, having to fire people, to how important is it to take mental breaks from everything?
I guess that's the thing is, when you're an owner of a company, you're always working,
right?
Which is fine. That's I kind of enjoy that. So that anytime my phone rings or I get an email, it's somebody who's could be a potential customer or an opportunity for us. But as a result, yes, the importance of kind of mental health days or even gaps, if it's not a whole day, are important, and that's something that's kind of been an ebb and flow for me, where I sometimes go a long stretch where I don't get that break,
right,
and then I'll get to the point where I have to give myself time or a day or 2 days over a weekend if I can. But you're never these things you're never fully disconnected anymore. But you do the best you can.
Yeah, right. You always have communication with you at all times, and you start to appreciate those breaks more often when you don't get them for a long time, which is nice. How does that take a toll on family life? Well, being an owner.
Yeah, so that's one of the important things that I've had to do is try to schedule time where we do things as a family. And my kids are older. I was a very young father, so my oldest just graduated college. My middle child is graduating high school in a couple of weeks, and my youngest is finishing sophomore year in high school. So the chances and the opportunities for us all to do things together are kind of dwindling. As my oldest son just he graduated in December. He just moved to Fort Myers, Florida, for his first full-time job.
Awesome.
So we took the whole family down there to move him in, and we took a week vacation down there, which was kind of nice to have everybody together and relax and recharge.
Right.
So that's an important thing, and for me, I've got a unique situation in that when we formed the company, when we first started the brewery, my wife and children around that time, we made the decision to move back to Wisconsin, where we like the schools better, and it was more, not that the schools are bad here, it's just it was we both were from there, so it was more of we wanted them to have the same experience we had through school. So they're there and I'm here, and I commute back and forth, and so it's kind of a really clean separation where now when I'm there, I'm a husband, I'm a father, and when I'm here, I'm working, and so in a way I'm better at both.
Right.
When you see your wife and kids every day, it's a gift, but it's easy to be like, oh, we'll do that tomorrow, or we'll do that next week, or let's go do this. Like, I don't have time today, I'm doing this. So, but now when I'm there, like they want to do whatever, fill in the blank. I'm like, yeah, let's go. Yeah, that's
great.
I'm here for you guys and spend time with you guys. So let's figure out what that is.
Right. What would be the best piece of advice you would give to somebody who wanted to own their own brewery?
Do it. I think, like I said, we talked a little bit about the fear of people, appreciating and enjoying your work, but there's a lot of people out there who like, do really great work and just kind of lack the the encouragement, the support. They think they lack it, but it's there. There's people in this industry that helped me when we started, and we've had an open door to anybody else who's starting a brewery. Where we've sat down with a number of people who are pretty established brands now, right in this room, and shared what our experience was to help them navigate what they're doing. And, this could have worked, could not, it still might, but I don't want to look back and be like, why didn't I do this?
Right.
I'd rather crash
one of the worst things in the world.
Yeah, I'd rather crash and burn than never try.
Right. And do you have a quick funny story that you've experienced in the industry?
There's lots of funny stories, but I think it's just little funny things like when you do events, you don't realize it. Like I used to go to beer festivals before, before Big Alice, and being on the other side of the table now, like we all have games we play with, because there's only a handful of type of people who come to these events, and there's certain catchphrases and things, and so it's always fun to kind of see how the life of any event takes shape, and the character of the people attending. I don't know any specific funny story there, but it's. I think there's lots of little funny moments when you deal with the general public, and I really enjoy that part of it.
Nice. Kyle, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mike.
Appreciate it. Thank you for sitting with us. I'm Mike Curtin for True Brewer Stew. It's Kyle Hurst from Big Alice Brewing in Long Island City. Go check him out. Thanks again, man.
Thank you. Cheers. Cheers.
Hey guys, so that was the podcast. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you were able to take something away from that interview, as you will with every interview. Special thanks again goes out to Kyle Hurst from Big Alice Brewing. Definitely go check those guys out in Long Island City if you get the chance. Every other Sunday I'll be posting up a new podcast, so stay tuned, and like I said, subscribe and you'll never miss another episode. Once again, I'm Mike Curtin for True Brewer Stew. Thank you so much for listening. Have a great day.